Hello, boys and girls. You are now listening to the greatest podcast. Well, next to Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, obviously.
Whoa!
I know. I've been saying it for the past 2 weeks, and I'm like, damn, I forgot about Peter and Jake. I mean, it's the whole fucking flagship of all this stuff. But don't you dare be sour. Clap for your favorite, next to favorite podcast, and feel the power. How you doing, Nate?
Good, but that intro sucked.
It really was. It really did.
That's okay.
You think you can do any better?
Probably not.
All right, then.
Like, you should hear my Eyes on the Ring.
Know
intros.
your
They're
role,
terrible.
huh?
You should hear my Eyes on the Ring intros. They're terrible.
Oh no, I hear them from time to time. I hear them from time to time. But check this out, right? We got a lot to cover, but I always like when we get done, like within an hour. So Without the lip service, let's go ahead and jump into our best and worst. Now, again, for those who are listening, I do this also on Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. I'm a big fan of the Dan Patrick Show, and every Monday he does a best and the worst of the weekend. With this, the Neu Daye Podcast, episode, 17?
Correct.
Episode 17, and moving forward, it almost becomes our discussion base, really. Best and worst of the week. Since we last spoke, we have from last Monday to now to give our best and our worst to each other and to our listeners. It could be wrestling related, it could be sports related, it could be life related. So give us the public, and to me, Nathan Newman, your best and worst since we last spoke.
The best was the fact that Ronda Rousey got her ass knocked out. And now she can shut her damn mouth. And the worst is now UFC is going to have to find a new cash cow, and also the worst is that the Rousey Cyborg fight is now off the table. Because if they do it, it's not going to mean anything.
It still means something, I think.
No.
You know what's better than the guy? You know what's better than the person on top of the mountain? You know what's even a better story?
What? The comeback story?
The falling off and the redemption.
I can't wait till the rematch so she can get kicked in the face again.
You know what that kick looked like to me? It looked like a modified Rainmaker. Because Ronda's right? Ronda's
a Rainmaker's a clothesline, you mark.
No. I said a modified. Where her back was completely turned. And she just kind of whipped her around. She kind of turned her around and it just blasted her. I was like, that's like a kick. That's a Rainmaker kick, you know? So I thought that was pretty funny. I didn't get to see the match. I was DJing, and
I watched it the next day because the way I saw it was, or the way I found out about it, I was at the ROH show when it was going on because I went to the ROH show on Saturday. So I guess you could put that in my best as well. And there will be a review up soon for eyesonthering.com that I wrote yesterday. But I get out of the ROH show and I'm in my car. Someone else is driving because, of course, I don't play with my phone when I'm driving because I don't want to die.
Because you play with something else.
But the first thing I see is remember the picture of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman after WrestleMania 30 where Paul Heyman's raising Brock's arm and he has his hand over his mouth like he can't believe what just happened?
Yeah.
Well, it was that picture, but instead of Brock's face, it was Holly Holm's face. So that's how I found out. And then I saw another meme that said it was the screen from WrestleMania that said 21-1, only it said 12-1.
Yeah.
So that's how I found out. But then I watched the fight, would have been yesterday. So, and Ronda Rousey wasn't in that fight at all.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, everyone's coming up with excuses. I don't care about excuses. Talk about, oh, did you see her stumble? I said, yeah, because she was unconscious.
Yeah.
Like, when she got that, it was an awkward, like, punch to the face. It was so fast.
Yeah.
When she got rocked and she turned around and she stumbled, like, she wasn't conscious.
No,
because for her to actually be turned around the way she was and not have her guard up to get kicked right in the side of her face, like, she was gone. Like,
well, then you've got people that'll automatically make excuses, and that's what people were doing. Like, oh, she did this or she did that or whatever. It's like, no, she lost.
I tell you what the fuck she did. She got in that octagon, and if everything was okay or everything wasn't okay, you know, she can make that decision. Okay, she made $10 million. You know, and I don't care. She could have fucking been one of a million things wrong. You get in that octagon, it's over. There's no excuses. It should be called the no excuse zone. You know, the octagon, the no excuse. You know how the no fly zone or the no spin zone, the no excuse zone, because you're in there, you're trying to fucking damn near murder somebody in that fucker. Now, if me and you, Nate, were in an octagon and we were scheduled to go into an octagon and damn near beat the living shit out of each other, right?
You would die.
I probably would. Bob and weave. If I knew that something wasn't right, you know, I wouldn't get into the ring. I'd be like, no mas. I'm like, you know what?
So you're saying that something wasn't right with her before the fight even happened?
That's the excuses that people are coming up with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know,
because she was fine to me.
You know, she had a hair in her omelet that day. Like, I don't give a fuck. No excuses. None.
She had a hair in her omelet? That's disgusting.
Yeah, I'm just saying, though. People are just like, I don't know, like, yeah, she listened to the wrong song, you know, before showing up to the fucking thing, you know, like.
Her entrance music was awful.
Yeah, you know, it was in the wrong key. A kangaroo, like, you know. Oh fuck! I don't know.
He killed a kangaroo on the way over.
Yeah, dude, she felt for the kangaroo. The kangaroo dead, you know, and she felt bad for the kangaroo and the eucalyptus tree. She ate a eucalyptus leaf. She thought she was so badass that she could eat a eucalyptus leaf. I mean, I'm just saying. And sorry to sound like a broken record, but you know, you just don't get into the octagon. You don't get into the ring if 100% things aren't okay, and I don't want to hear excuses afterwards. Not from the fighter and not from the fans. Now,
well, and okay, here's another thing that I noticed right away is that I was always one of the people, and I will admit this, I'm not blowing smoke up at anybody's ass. I wanted for the longest time Ronda Rousey to lose. I don't care who she was facing. I'm glad she lost to Holly Holm because Holly Holm's a class act. But I wanted her to lose. I didn't care if it was against Liz Carmouche, even though that didn't happen. Misha Tate, I wouldn't have cared. The chick that she fought in March, which I can't remember who it was, but I wouldn't mind if she would have lost there. But I just wanted her to lose. Because my whole thing is when you're undefeated, I like seeing people's reactions when someone loses. And the fact that I do not like Ronda Rousey, I think she's a terrible human being. And that's why I wanted her to lose.
Yeah, I don't care much for her. I think the hype about her is the fact that to me, I defer because I'm like, well, she's not really facing the best in the world. She's not.
Well, and she faced the best in the world on Saturday.
She faced someone that was better.
Yeah,
and more, you know, she was more in tune with her arts, you know, with her fighting ability than Ronda Rousey was. And you know, as a stand-up, like, you know, boxer, you know, that, you know, she prevented getting taken down, and that was like basically the bulk of the fight itself.
Well, and she's not to mention she's now a boxing champion and a world boxing champion and a world MMA champion. simultaneously.
That's pretty awesome. Now,
yeah.
You mentioned something about the cash cow. Now, the thing about Ronda Rousey is that people in the press love an athlete that just doesn't shut their mouth. Like, the more the press can get out of you, the more the press will give you that attention. You know what I'm saying? And Ronda Rousey, being that she was kind of a jerk, very arrogant, very full of herself, and she made it known that she was the baddest person on the planet, very much like any fighter. The press ate it up. Now, if you're talking about this Holly Holmes chick, and she's like basically Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, she's like someone who's not very press, She
is very good with the press.
Oh, she is good with the press?
Yeah,
But is she giving the press what they want? I mean,
she's cutting great interviews, and she's great with the press.
Is she talking shit?
No, she's one of the most humble human beings you will ever come across.
Nobody wants that shit. I'm sorry, nobody wants that. That's why no one really likes.
That's what I do. That's what I want. And I know that's different from everybody else wants, but it's like I don't want to hear people run their mouths.
Oh, well, as wrestling fans, come on. We love a good fucking
MMA
promo.
Is completely different.
I know.
Than wrestling.
But I like all my celebrities like that. From Kanye West.
If I liked someone who was up in your face and could talk a big game, I would like Ronda Rousey. I can't stand Ronda Rousey because of that reason. Same with like Misha Tate. I can't stand her because she runs her mouth all the time and then she gets her ass kicked and can't back it up.
Yeah.
So I don't like people in MMA who will talk a big game and then get their ass kicked.
Well, I'm not a big fan of the tough girl mentality. I'm not a fan of that at all. Like, if anyone's listening and get offended by it, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not a big fan of tough guys. I'm a big fan of badasses, but I'm not a fan of tough people. And tough guys get their asses handed to them because you're not so fucking tough. You can't fight. And the same with girls, where it's like, what bothered me when she was always poking at Floyd Mayweather. And now Mayweather isn't like, the Pope, you know what I'm saying? He's not someone I'm defending. But I think, the cards are different when you're talking about a guy and a girl kind of going at it in a ring, say, versus wrestling. I don't mind wrestling because it's theater. But if you're talking about like a person who's a mixed martial artist and she's like taking shots at someone who's in another fighting profession, like she's going to kick his ass or something, I just go like, yo, chill with that stuff. Because if he came around and gave you a fucking, just punched you in the face, then he's going to be called a woman beater, right? Yeah. And regardless of how many fucking arm bars, how many arms she's broken, she's still a woman. So when she carries herself like some tough dude, some bully, I just go like, no, man, I'm not a fan of that kind of mentality. And this Misha Tate is the same way. Like I don't understand why you have to be the tough girl. We respect you as women fighters. Okay, we get it. But like, when you cross that line of like bully, tough, ogre type shit, like I tune you out because it's like, sorry, I'm sorry you're not a guy. I really do apologize that you're not a guy.
I was going to say something. I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
But another thing that really gets me, it's like all the guys on like Twitter and like guys that I know and stuff like that, they all think that Ronda Rousey's like super attractive.
I think she's hot as hell.
I don't know. Okay, you do? Well, yeah. I don't see it at all. I think like that body type doesn't really appeal to me, and I think she looks like a dog.
Oh, okay.
In her face.
Yeah, she doesn't. I mean, I guess it's one thing to call her beautiful, and there's another thing to call her hot. I don't think anyone's calling her beautiful. I think people are.
I don't think she's either one.
I think people are overwhelmed by her toughness being pretty sexy, and I think I can see that. It's almost like seeing a musician, like a chick musician, who's not that good looking, but she's so good at what she does, like on stage or as a with her instrument, that she becomes hot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't buy that argument, but I can see why other people would.
Yeah, I mean, damn it, it isn't all about you, Nate.
Well, no, I know. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I don't buy it, but I'm saying other people might.
Yeah, but I fall into that. Well, if you're really good at something, regardless of who you look, you start to get more attractive because I'm attracted by your talents along with your looks. You get sexier. I went and saw. It was a couple of years ago. I can't even think of the band's name. It hit me in a bit, but there was a girl in that band, and she wasn't cute at all. Like, she really had no body. Elf Power. The name of the band is called Elf Power. They're from Chicago. And she, she's all right, like whatever. You wouldn't glance over twice at her, you know what I'm saying? And by the end of the night, she had played like 8 instruments, right? And by that 8th instrument, I was in love. And all the guys, you could see the entire room, we were just falling more with each instrument she picked up, whether it was a fucking didgeridoo, a fucking xylophone, a saxophone, guitar, bass, a harmonica. We had all fallen into love. You know what I'm saying? Because she was just so talented. And Ronda Rousey, yeah, she's talented at what she does, and that in itself is just attractive. But her body, like her physical physique is great. It's like, it's beyond amazing. And when she does dress up and gets pretty, it's like, whew, damn. I know some people who aren't particularly into like Serena Williams' body type. I love it. That's like the
yuck.
That's like the most amazing body type probably I've ever seen in my life. But there's much like yourself that aren't fans of it. But to each his own.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just don't get it. Why like people think she's hot? It's like,
I just explained it to you.
No, I know, but it's like, to me, it's like, yeah, she has a decent body, but it's like
decent.
She's a butterface.
Yeah, I mean, hey, butterfaces still get laid too, and
with bags over their faces.
Nah, I mean, I'm not that selective with my fucking.
She looks like a pit bull.
No, yeah. I think you're just way too critical.
Nope.
I would hate to see if she's dog ugly. I hate to see who you think is really ugly, and I would be interested in who you think is hot. But that's for another podcast. I get it to my best and my worst. Couple of best. I'll start with my best. I've gone a week without a cigarette. And I'm pretty excited.
I've gone my whole life without a cigarette.
Can we not make this about you, Nate? Please. All right.
I just do it because I know it makes you mad.
No, you do it because you're an asshole. You're a self-absorbed piece of crap. I swear to God, your favorite wrestler has to be Shawn Michaels, or the narcissist Lex Luger.
Shawn Michaels is in my top 3. But he's my 3rd on that list.
I'm talking about Heartbreak Kid, like asshole, like Pamela Anderson, nice hips, nice waist.
No, I don't care about the character. I care about the wrestler.
No, I'm saying like the really full of himself Shawn Michaels is like one of your favorites. And the narcissist.
Because character doesn't make a difference to me.
Well, it seems as rubbing the fuck off you.
I don't look at character. I look at wrestling.
Can I get through my best and worst?
Yeah, if you stop calling me out.
What you keep? All right. So, after smoking 9 years...
Wait till I really piss you off.
After smoking 9 years, I decided on my 38th birthday to quit smoking. And I'm so far, so good. I have no cravings, which is pretty cool. The first 2 days were pretty brutal. But I think I'm pretty sure I'm done with smoking cigarettes. And plus, smelling other people smoking cigarettes is funny that, like, I'm now picking up on how bad it smells, and I'm like, ugh, I smelled like that for like 9 years. That sucks. And another best I would like to say is the match between, I'm not saying the match itself, I thought it was pretty good, but Kalisto getting the rub out of the first round over Ryback. I think it's time to pull the trigger on that kid. If we're trying to still look at the next Latino or the next like Rey Mysterio, the guy... between him and Sin Cara, they've really stepped up their game. Now that the coast is kind of clear with Randy Orton out and John Cena on sabbatical, and now with the injury of Seth Rollins, if I could pick out 2 guys that's really up their game to really say, hey, we're badass outside of Cesaro, it would be Sin Cara and Kalisto. And Kalisto match against Ryback was pretty awesome, and him getting finally the rub I thought was pretty cool. It was always this thing with me is like, well, you got two guys, Neville, and then you have Kalisto. They're both high flyers. They're both very quick in the ring. They're little guys. They both can get over really well as little, quick, athletic dudes. And I was thinking, who's going to get the first rub? And with Neville's losing streak as of late, and Kalisto with the Lucha Dragons kind of on a winning streak, it looks like they're tipping their hat right now more towards Kalisto. And nothing against Neville, but I would much rather see Kalisto as a masked luchador kind of character sort of ascend than Neville. Do I have another? Oh yeah, and my other best is a 9-0 Panthers. We who did we just beat? We just beat somebody. Oh, we beat the Titans. We played. Was it the Titans? We played some crappy team from the AFC South. But anyway, we got our 9th win, and that's pretty cool. It's the first time in franchise history to go 9-0. So, and my worst is this. It's a combination of one event, and it's the terrorist attacks that happened over in France. ISIS is on a roll. You know, those motherfuckers make the Taliban look like the Spirit Squad. It pretty much sucks. I lived in France for 3 years, and one of the places that got attacked, the Bataclan, was I went there on a regular basis because they had really good shows that would come in every once in a while. You wouldn't get like big acts. You would get like sort of pitchfork media kind of acts, whether it was DJs or bands. And I would go there and just to know that like some fuckers just run up in there and just start taking out people just to just enjoy their Friday night is just a fucked up thing. It's fucking cowards. And then plus the bombings too, and I don't know. And then the conspiracy theorists and the people bitching about how other people use their social media about it. The filter, the French flag filter. And all I saw was people complaining about that shit. I don't use that stuff. Just like when, gay marriage was imposed, and everyone, put the whole rainbow shit. I didn't put that shit. I don't feel like I need to. Not like I'm against it or don't support it. I just don't need to wear it on my fucking social media. But people can do what the fuck they want. And you got other people complaining about, say, you got some, like, kids that are upset that the attention has been shifted towards the black students that have been trying to push towards racial, racial issues on campus, Johns Hopkins, or say Missouri, that all that attention is going away because of the terrorist attacks. I'm just like, come on, man. Don't be a moron. Don't be a fucking moron. Get a life. The last thing in your fucking plate is what someone else is paying attention to, okay? And what someone wants to do with their social media. If they want to put a filter on their Facebook profile page, just let them fucking do it. Who gives a shit? It's Facebook.
Yeah, because I did it, but I'm not going to do it on Twitter because I hate Facebook. So
I'm just saying in general, though, the least of those people's worries, their friends and families, and their fucking worries is someone's going to put a filter over their thing or not. You got dead people, randomly just picked off, and you're going to gripe about because someone put a fucking filter on their profile page. Get a life. And that's my best and worst of the week. So,
okay, and we are a half hour into this almost, or 27 minutes, so that took way too long.
No. Actually,
it was a good conversation.
We're actually 17 minutes in. We had at least 10 minutes of.
Oh, okay. Well, the runtime on my call is like 27 minutes.
Yeah, it's 20. Yeah, it's 27. No, it was 17 minutes in.
Okay.
So, here's the thing. Where are we starting with? Because you said that you wanted to talk about something.
Well, I don't really need to talk about it too in depth. But I did go to a Ring of Honor show over the weekend. It was Survival of the Fittest Night 2, and my review for it was on eyesonthering.com for DAR Midwest Week, something that they're doing over on the DAR website, which is definearevolution.com. But so that's up there, but I'll just give my general thoughts. I thought it was a very good show. I've been to 4 Ring of Honor shows total this year, 1 in Vegas, 3 in Hopkins, and the one that I went to on Saturday was probably the best show overall. In Hopkins, at least. The Vegas show I'd put on a different pedestal because it was a pay-per-view, but the show on Saturday had a bigger feel to it because it was Survival of the Fittest Night 2, and it had a pay-per-view feel to it. We got the Young Bucks for the first time, which if you're a Young Bucks fan, that's fine, I guess. But I liked the fact that I got to see the Survival of the Fittest finals, but I hated the fact of who won.
Uh-oh.
And
how far down the line TV would that be?
It's not going to show on TV this year, I don't think.
It won't show it. It's going to be a DVD?
It's going to be a DVD, Survival of the Fittest Night 2, Hopkins, Minnesota. There was one year they did the entire tournament on TV. This year they did, but that was, I think, 2012, if I recall correctly. Last year, they did it as an event. This year, or the year before that, they did it as an event. This year, it was a 2-night event where they had, because it's usually, if you know the format, it's 6 matches to qualify, so it's 12 guys initially, and then 6 matches, or 6 one-on-one matches. The people that win those 6 one-on-one matches get to advance to the 6-way final. And I saw the 6-way final, although it was a 5-way final, because one of the guys who was supposed to be in it, Roderick Strong, got a concussion the night before.
Ugh.
So they will not let him wrestle until he is cleared. So he came out, cut a promo, said he was out of the match, and then they did not replace him in the match. They had to go with 5 people, which sucks. I mean, the match was really, really good.
Who were the finalists?
Don't get me wrong, but I think it would have been a lot better had Roderick Strong been in it. And I don't think the outcome would have changed, but who knows. The interesting thing is that because Michael Elgin won the match, it came down to Jay Briscoe, and then when it did that, everybody just went silent and was moaning and groaning in the arena because we knew what was going to happen.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Nathan, repeat that. You kind of broke up, I guess, after you said Michael Elgin won, you broke up a little bit. Can you repeat that?
So Michael Elgin won. He last eliminated Jay Briscoe, and when it was down to Elgin and Briscoe, a lot of people were moaning and groaning because they pretty much knew that there's no way that Briscoe's going to win the tournament or win the match, so it was pretty much going to be Elgin. The interesting thing, though, is that after...
Who were the other guys?
Huh?
You haven't said who were the other guys yet.
It was ACH, Silas Young...
with the boys?
Correct. Let me pull this up really quick, because I can't remember who the 5th guy was, to be quite honest.
It wasn't like Adam Cole?
No. It was Elgin defeating Jay Briscoe, but it was Elgin, Jay Briscoe, ACH, Silas Young, and Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Daniels.
Which is why I forgot Christopher Daniels, because he's one of the most forgettable wrestlers on the face of the planet. But yeah, it was him, and then... but yeah, Elgin won, and then the interesting thing was that we've got Wrestle Kingdom 10 coming up on Monday, January 4th. And that is where he is going to get his world title opportunity. At Wrestle Kingdom in Japan, Michael Elgin versus Jay Lethal for the belt.
Whoa! They could do cross promotion like that?
Correct.
Wrestle Kingdom is going to have the Jay Lethal defending the ROH. Oh, my Lord.
Yep, and Michael Elgin is most likely going to win the title in Japan.
He better not.
He's going to. They wouldn't put this match in Japan. Like, my theory is they wouldn't do this match in Japan if Elgin wasn't going to win it.
But wait a minute, bro. What about AJ Styles?
What about him?
He's the number one contender for the belt.
He's not going to win the title.
Well, he got his eyes on the Intercontinental right now.
Yeah, he might win the Intercontinental title from Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom 9 or at Wrestle Kingdom 10, but we're talking about like two different promotions and two different titles. No,
I mean, obviously. But I mean, they bring those belts over.
Obviously.
Well, they bring the belts over. I mean, they don't. They're not. They're separate, but they're not different.
Yeah, they are.
In terms of their business, no. I mean, if they're going to have the ROH championship match on a Wrestle Kingdom, I mean, I get it. They're two separate, but like they're intertwined. And AJ Styles, I still think, is going to beat Jay Lethal.
I don't think so. I think Jay Lethal is losing the TV title before he ever loses the world title.
He's already lost it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But no, so he's got duh. But I don't know what I was thinking. But, yeah, there's no way that he's going to lose the world title before, because I think he's going to hold that title for at least 9 months.
I hope so. I really do. I mean, I'm such a Jay Lethal fan. Huge Jay Lethal fan. I think, and I mean, obviously, I mean, fuck it. I really enjoy seeing a black world heavyweight champion.
For once, yeah.
And it's not because he's just the guy. He shows and proves, man. His promo ability, his ring ability. He knows how to tell a story, man. That guy, he just gets it. And it's not so far-fetched to... It's like, okay, study from the best, mimic it. How hard is that? You know, like it's not that hard. It's like a hip-hop show. Like, I used to perform as a rapper, and one of the things that I would do is just basically mimic the favorite rappers in performance that I've seen. Mos Def, Talib Kweli, J Live. Those guys not only can rap, because I can't rap.
No idea who any of those people are.
That's fine. But like, I can't rap, but I can perform. And it's just something as simple as, telling the crowd to put their hands in the air. Something as like splitting up the crowd and say, hey, you side say this, that side say that. Like it's basic hip-hop performance 101. And I think when it comes down to being a wrestling gimmick, it's the same thing. You got guys out there. The template is put out there for you to study from and to basically mimic and alter it a little bit to make it your own. I think Jay Lethal is like the perfect example of that. And you got these guys who don't know how to cut promos. You got these guys who have no personality whatsoever. It's because they don't, as much as they love wrestling and probably seen it, I don't know what it is about like them really studying the stuff. Hey, who's your favorite performer? Who's your favorite wrestler? HBK. So why don't you just mimic HBK? Like, just learn things from him and learn how to get fucking confidence to prove yourself as a gimmick. But for some reason, they can't do it. Jay Lethal, on the other hand, it's fucking beautiful, man. And I guess I sucked him off enough, but I'm just glad.
That's what it sounded like.
Yay, dude, whatever, man. We all got to be marks or something. And I'm just saying, not only is he a black world champion, I really just enjoy him as a character. I light up whenever he comes into the room. Whenever that music hits, the House of Truth music hits, it's on. It's on. Oh well. But AJ Styles is money. That's all I see. AJ Styles is money. So whenever they meet. When is that match supposed to be?
Final battle.
When is it?
Friday, December 18th.
Oh, God. It's going to be Elgin, man. It's going to be Elgin versus AJ Styles, man.
Nope.
All right. So, we had a loss. We lost a legendary wrestler. I always fuck up his name. Say it.
Nick Bockwinkle.
That's it. I don't date that far back in terms of my wrestling fanship to know who he is. I guess you hear about him. I remember hearing what he was. I think through Chris Jericho, because when Chris Jericho came back as the sort of when he cut his hair and he started using big words and talking down to people, he was saying that was his. It was completely based off of the Bockwinkle gimmick, and to the extent there is where I am. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like I know everything about him. I can just pull up his wiki page and sound like I know who the fuck he is, but I don't. And you have a little more knowledge than I do. So if you could say a word or two about him and things that you remember the most about him, not only him, but maybe some matches that you've watched of his. Share it with us. This is the Nathan Newman Show, by the way.
That better not be the title of this show, by the way. Where do I want to start? Nick Bockwinkle was in the AWA in Minnesota, and he feuded with Hulk Hogan over the AWA title. I believe Hulk Hogan beat him for... Actually, I'm going to have to pull it up because I can't remember off the top of my head.
We don't need a bio. I'm just saying, what are the things that you remember about him?
He was a very good wrestler. He wasn't a guy who, of today, if you look at 2015 wrestling, it's all about spots and this and that and the other. And Nick Bockwinkle was a guy that wasn't going to do something unless he had to or if it made sense. If it didn't make any sense during the context of his match, he wouldn't do a specific move because he didn't need to do it. There's certain wrestlers that don't have to do everything in order to get over. Cough, Young Bucks, cough. But he was even for what he did very ahead of his time, and his character was something that's still looked upon today as far as what guys strive to be in the business. And there's a lot of people that will probably look at Nick Bockwinkle and cite him as somebody who made them want to get into the business or want them to do this or want them to do that. And you mentioned Chris Jericho earlier, where Chris Jericho kind of took his heel work in 2009 and used it because of Nick Bockwinkle. But he was a 4-time AWA World Heavyweight Champion, a 3-time AWA World Tag Team Champion with Ray Stevens, and of course, in his later days, the AWA World Title is probably the biggest achievement that he ever had. And then in his later days, he was a commissioner for, if you look at, 80s WWF and, even early 90s, Jack Tunney was the president of WWF at the time. And Nick Bockwinkle over on WCW was their version of Jack Tunney. He would make the matches and do that and this, that, and the other. So he was essentially what the authority is now to WWE. The only difference is that you would see Nick Bockwinkle maybe once or twice a month. You would see him during a big moment. If something needed to be done, you wouldn't see him open up a Raw every fucking Monday with a 20-25 minute promo, because that's not how they did it back then. They only used him sparingly when it was important, and when when he came on TV, you knew something big was going to go down.
Yeah.
And versus now, it's like WWE, if you look at it, like Nick Bockwinkle's most of his announcements as commissioner of WCW, NWA, whatever you want to call it back then, were a big deal. But now it's like you look at the Authority and their announcement. Well, WWE announces that they're going to announce something. It's like TNA announces that they're going to make an announcement. It's like, okay, why are you doing this? Because it's overkilling everything you're doing. But that's what I take from Nick Bockwinkle. He was a very good wrestler and a very good authority figure, even though we didn't see him that often. And he was at one time, I believe, a manager, and he was with no, I'm thinking of somebody else. But yeah, he was very good in his role as an authority figure, and he will be sorely missed, and he will be one of those guys that people will remember. And if you have the WWE Network, it's like I always do whenever I hear somebody died. It's like I always go on to the WWE Network and type in their name and see what comes up, and I watch whatever I can, because that's the way that wrestling fans cope with losses, is watching guys' matches and appreciating what they could do, and that's what I would suggest doing. The only problem with that is, and the problem with that suggestion is, I don't know if you'll find anything from Nick Bockwinkle on the network, because most of the AWA stuff doesn't exist on there, so you might have to go to YouTube or Daily Motion or whatever to find it, but I'm sure you'll be able to find something.
So, question.
Okay.
I guess it's maybe two into one. What's a feud of his that stands out? And if you could suggest a match to people, even to myself, and it's all good, you got the train in the back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, I got the train over here too. You probably hear that once in a while. But a match that stands out that you would suggest that I and our listeners should check out.
Honestly, there's a match, because I have the best of the AWA 2-disc set that the WWE released not too long ago. And, well, actually, it was a few years ago, but he's got a match with Hogan on there with the AWA world title on the line. And if you can find that match anywhere, watch it, because it's very good. Hogan actually, believe it or not, in WWE, he did the boot, the leg drop, and barely did anything. But in AWA, when he was a heel, he actually, or I believe he might have been a heel at this time, or might have just been transitioning to a face. But he could actually wrestle. And it's weird to see him actually do holds and stuff like that, and be able to wrestle a sound technical match, because Hogan, was a showman, obviously, because he had less moves than John Cena does right now. But
he wrestled as a heel too, you know.
Yeah, he did.
He rickety the eyes. He would scratch the back. Like, what are you doing?
Even when he was a face, he wrestled as a heel. But it's like, watch his matches with Hogan if you can find them. He had some pretty good matches with Bob Backlund, if I'm not mistaken, that you could probably find somewhere. And but definitely somebody who you should check out and appreciate. And I know a lot of the younger generation probably won't be able to appreciate him as much as I do, but if you're old like me, well, you're older than me, but
yes, I am.
If you're 30 and over, then, or even like in your late 20s, you'll be able to appreciate Nick Bockwinkle for what he is.
He doesn't do a suicide dive. Where are the super kicks?
I was just going to say that he's not going to do 1,000.
You call that wrestling? You call that where are the sentons? Where's the red arrows? That's not wrestling. Oh boy. All right. So thank you for that bit of information. For those listening, again, rewind the tape and check out what he just said again. So I guess the next piece of news is Billy Gunn getting fired because of PED use. Now, the confusion part is that he hasn't been in the ring. Now, I don't know if this PED or substance abuse is actually applied to like executives and trainers too. Obviously, he got fired, so it's not his first offense. I think they do a 3 strikes you're out until I guess they change it when Randy gets his 3rd strike.
I think he's already gotten his 3rd strike by now. I think they go by how many wives he's had, and if he gets remarried, then he gets 3 more strikes.
That's horrible. And who's to say this surgery, his shoulder, isn't a 3rd strike? But Billy Gunn, man, I mean, what the fuck? Why the fuck would he need to use PEDs? Because does he still work the indies? Like when he gets like a contract or something to go in and fight?
No, I don't believe he still wrestles. If that's what you're asking me.
Yeah.
No.
I don't see why he wouldn't.
He might do appearances, but I don't understand why you need PEDs to do an appearance.
Maybe they taste really good.
They taste like candy?
I don't know. I mean, why else would you take them if it's just habitual use?
For that very reason.
Or, you want to keep your physique. But if he's not going to be in the fucking ring, what does it matter? Like, seriously, you know what I'm saying? Or is it one of those things where it's like, the whole PED thing is just so taboo? It's just so they want to detach themselves from it completely that any and everyone who would even suggest to use it is going to fucking go down in flames? Is that just it?
Possibly.
I wish they were more clear about it, though. Because I'm thinking it's just in-ring talent, in-ring performance that would get, busted and, they, get heat.
Yeah.
But Gunn is not an in-ring performer anymore. He just, he trains. It just doesn't add up. But I can understand why they did it, Like if something goes wrong, it's not like they're going to be, the blood is not going to be on their hands if something goes wrong with Billy Gunn. I mean, how do you feel about it?
Honestly, Billy Gunn he was a good wrestler when he was wrestling. But he's a guy that, they released, he's in his 50s. They don't need him. Yeah, I'm sure he was a good coach and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's past the point where they can use him effectively, other than like having him come out with Road Dogg and pop a crowd at like a Raw reunion show. Other than that, he has no purpose.
You know what's funny too? Because listen to the Solid Monster today. The guy who just came over from TNA. Sorry about your damn luck. That guy.
What's TNA?
I know. So who just came over? Sorry about
James Storm.
So apparently James Storm is there because of Billy Gunn. And I think what may happen with the firing of or releasing of Billy Gunn is that if whatever contract TNA still has wants to have with James Storm is still on the table and he still hasn't signed a contract with the WWE, I think this may be his chance. I think this may be his opening and fill that spot where Billy Gunn left off. And it's just a theory, but we may just have to deal with James Storm. Well, James Storm's going to have to finish his career as a NXT trainer in the place of Billy Gunn. And man, why not? It's good coin. He doesn't necessarily have to be in the ring. I imagine it's great coin if you don't fuck up. It's like that's job security right there.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he still wants to get into the ring,
which could be a possibility, but I don't know if See, it's almost too late for them to sign him because they could have done something with him years ago.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And it's like they could have signed him when he was with Chris Harris of America's Most Wanted. Well, they signed Chris Harris at one point. We know what happened there.
No, tell me what happened.
They signed him when ECW was still around, or when their version of ECW was still around. And he showed up to his tryout, and he was all fat and out of shape. And then he was fat and out of shape during his run there, and they fired him like 2 months later.
Chris Hero. Huh?
No, Chris Harris.
No, I'm just saying he got Chris Hero'd.
Pretty much.
Chris Harris, Chris Hero. Hey, now. Hey, that's some shit. All right, so I guess the only thing left to talk about is this boom, boom, boom. This tournament Raw last week. What did you think about last week?
I thought it was good. It's giving Raw a little bit of a purpose. But I am very disappointed that we're only going to get the finals at Survivor Series, most likely. And that's because I was hoping that, we had Deadly Game 1998, the tournament. It was a one-night tournament. I was hoping we would get that. And what's good about the tournament matches being on Raw and SmackDown is that SmackDown will mean something for a few more weeks. But,
well, no, this is the go-home show, man. Tonight is the go-home show.
But there's still matches to be had on SmackDown.
Yeah, at least 4 more.
Yeah,
so
they'll do 2 tonight and 2 on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So, because they're trying to make SmackDown matter even though it doesn't matter.
Shut up, dude.
Huh?
Stop.
No. Stop what?
It.
Stop. What is it?
Well, I mean, you know when you listen to Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, and I'll poke holes at NXT, and then Jake gets all, like, defensive. I'm being Jake right now with my Peter Talks SmackDown.
Yeah, I know. That's what I want you to do.
Screw you, man.
Plus, Keita told me to do it, so.
Oh, yeah, because I keep calling y'all out.
Exactly.
I opened up SmackDown, Peter Talks SmackDown, last Saturday with calling y'all out.
I know. I listened to it. Or wait, no, you opened up Peter Talks SmackDown.
Yes, I opened because that's what I said. And Nikita's listening; she could vouch. As soon as I open, I go. I was like, I know that Nathan isn't listening because he doesn't listen to one person podcast, but I know Keita's listening, and sure enough, she tweeted about it.
Oh yeah, that's right, because that's what she said. But she didn't specify what podcast it was set on because I figured it was on Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling.
It was
the last one.
The first
you
one
did say something.
Yeah, the first time I mentioned that, I called y'all out was on Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, but then I followed up on Peter Talks SmackDown.
I'm gonna have to go listen to that then because
it's like in the first 3 minutes.
Well, then I'll only have to listen to you for 3 minutes.
Oh no, it's in the 17th minute. God damn it, man!
Seriously?
No, I'm kidding. It's a ruse. It was a total ruse that you should listen to more than just the 3 minutes. All right, but yeah, like I don't know. Last week we were talking about, I guess, the placement of Roman Reigns, and my whole thing is, you were like, nah, man, send him to the back of the line, and I'm like, nah, man, he's the number 1 contender. He should just be waiting at the end of the fucking tunnel. You know, I don't agree with having to watch more matches of him. I don't want to watch matches of him. Honestly. So the fact that Triple H is all like, hey, bro, be my man, pause, and it's like, you can get the title, or you can, go to the back of the line, and he chose to go to the back of the line, and I just thought, like, man, like, I wonder what happened in, like, creative to make them really go with that, They're like, you know what, we're just going to put him in another tournament.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't I'm glad they didn't go winner faces Roman Reigns thing, because that's what I thought they were going to do.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at this tournament bracket and you don't think the finals are going to be Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, then you're an idiot. You need to stop watching wrestling right now.
I know. I just don't want it
because
to be so obvious.
Even when you saw the bracket, I mean, you've got Roman Reigns on one end, you got Dean Ambrose on one end, so it's blatantly obvious what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then when that match happens, it's like, I couldn't care less who wins.
It's about,
I don't like Roman Reigns and I don't like Dean Ambrose.
Well, aren't you at least a little curious about what will happen versus who wins the belt? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a number of events that can happen.
Yes and no. My hope is that probably Dean Ambrose turns heel and wins the title and becomes the Rock to Roman Reigns' Mankind. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
Isn't that exciting, though?
No, not really, because Dean Ambrose is a joke.
What you got against Dean Ambrose?
He's not good.
Oh, wow.
He's a good wrestler, but his character is too quirky for me.
Oh, it is corny.
And I can't take him seriously at all. And his slingshot lariat that he does makes Nigel McGuinness roll in his grave, and he ain't even dead yet.
Yeah, he uses it way too much.
Yeah, and it's awful every fucking time.
I don't think it's awful every time. I just wish that whoever is getting it, I wish they played it off that they didn't know it was coming. You know, like turn their back or something, you know? Time it better. I just feel like they're looking at him do it.
You're talking about the heel turn?
No, I'm just talking about when
yeah.
Whenever he whips into that kick, it's like they don't turn around. They basically watch him do that leg kick and come back and get hit with the Russian sickle. And I just
because they probably want to know if his dumbass is going to fall out of the ring and hit his head on the floor.
I just go, I wish there was more element of surprise to it. It's no more element to surprise anymore. It's just it's one of his 5 moves, you know. And yes, he has 5 too, you know. One thing I don't like about Dean Ambrose is that he doesn't get enough heat on himself. He doesn't allow himself to get beat up enough to get heat, you know, for people to sort of cheer him on. I think people like that he's quirky and kind of corny, you know. I think it's corny, especially that one little. This was a couple of weeks ago. I think the SmackDown, and he's in the back, and it was like another one of those payday spots where he brings a bag in and he's pulling out all this zany stuff. He pulls out like a slinky. He pulls out like a balloon animal. He pulls out like some chain, like handcuffs. I'm just like, what?
Sounds terrible.
What do you do? What is this? And I don't like that quirky.
The only time I ever liked Dean Ambrose was when he was in the Shield, and ever since the Shield broke up, he's like. And I told a few people this. I told a few people I know in real life this that are wrestling fans, and I told people online. I'm like, Dean Ambrose is going to be the one guy in the Shield that out of the 3 of them, no one's going to care about. And I mean, I'm kind of wrong, but I'm kind of right.
You're very wrong.
Still care about him, but he's the one that WWE doesn't care about.
Yeah, but
because they pushed Seth Rollins, they're pushing Roman Reigns. They're not doing anything with Dean Ambrose, and they never will.
I think because they don't get him. It's not like he's a star. I don't see him as a star. I think he's just weird. I think he still gets the biggest pops. I don't know why. I honestly, whenever he shows up, the place loses it.
Yeah, and the thing that's killing him on with the commentary is every time he shows up, they call him, it's the Lunatic Fringe. They say the Lunatic Fringe 1,000 times, and he never does anything that warrants that nickname, and it's stupid.
Yeah.
Because, he's a lunatic, but a PG lunatic is not a lunatic.
Yeah. He's more like a lunatic.
Sure, I guess.
Lunatic. Oh, whatever, dude.
Terrible joke, Peter.
Yeah, I'm the Punisher sometimes. But yeah, he's no star. He still gets the pop. I just, it just still boils down to like, hey man, give the people what they want. Just give the people what they want. Give the people what they need. And as much as we want Dean Ambrose, when he was running around New Orleans with the belt, I just thought it looked cool. Again, I'm not like someone who's, oh yeah, give it to Dean Ambrose. I'm not. But if there's enough, groundswell of support that we want to see this guy ascend to be a legitimate title contender, I'm not against it. I'm not at all against it. And I don't know, just make him uncorny, and I'll probably be more supportive.
They won't ever do that because their way of booking him similar, because I get a lot of comparison from, like, a lot of people compare him to Brian Pillman, but the difference is he's no Brian Pillman.
Hell no.
And Brian Pillman would roll over in his grave if he ever heard that. But Brian Pillman was booked during a different time. He was booked in the Attitude Era. And you know me, I do not like the Attitude Era. I'll tell everybody that I don't. But his character during the Attitude Era was something special because it was allowed to be something special because they didn't have any TV restraints.
And it was being invented as it went along. It was an unlearned gimmick. He became this because I was, as a kid, I was a big as a kid, it was either Sting or Flying Brian. I loved fucking Flying Brian. My family loved Flying Brian. I was just like, this guy rules. And he had the coolest fucking hair. You can't beat that curly fro mullet thing he had going. That shit was awesome. Well, anyway, I see more Mick Foley because Mick Foley was corny, I'm seeing
he was corny as the Mankind character, but I wouldn't even go as far as comparing him to Mick Foley. I think that's a huge misstep for Mick Foley.
Oh man, dude, you got it out for her.
No, my whole thing is I don't like people comparing people to other people.
Yeah, I can't stand it either.
Like saying so-and-so is the next this or so-and-so is the next that. It's like I hear all the time that Dean Ambrose is the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. No, he's not.
He's the next Roddy Piper. He's the next Flying Brian. He's the next,
and he can't cut it because he's got no legs. Dean Ambrose was interesting for about 2 weeks to me, and then he's been a polished turd for the rest of his time.
Well, right now, for the past month, he's just been booked as a glorified cheerleader.
Yeah. And they're making the turn that's going to happen at Survivor Series painfully obvious.
Yeah. But that's what I don't want. I don't want this to be the obvious series, not the Survivor Series. Like, man, and there's something I spoke about in Peter Talk SmackDown. I was like, oh my God, at least throw me some swerve. Man, I'm not really a big swerve person, But man, if there was ever a time a swerve was needed somehow, it's for this fucking tournament, man.
Tell that to Vince Russo. He'll block you on Twitter.
Uh-oh. Well,
he blocked me.
You got blocked by... Why did he block? What did you tell him?
I said something about glory holes, and he blocked me.
What the fuck are you talking about glory holes for?
Because he said something about a documentary about Glory Championship Wrestling, and it was a mistake that I did it because Marty DeRosa originally said something, and then I just retweeted what he had said, but then he replied to me and Marty DeRosa at the same time and said that's uncalled for, this, that, and the other. And so I didn't actually say something. It was Marty DeRosa that did it, but he blocked me because of that conversation.
Did you read the tweet in his voice?
What?
Like when you got it, did you hear Russo voice as you read it?
Not really.
Oh, dude. See, I do that all the time. If I would have got that, I would have heard like, that thick New York accent and him reprimanding me on how, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate.
But he's like, he tagged us both in the tweet, and he's like, I'm a Christian, this, that, and the other, and I don't find that this talk appropriate or whatever.
That's hilarious.
Then I went, because I used to follow him, and then I noticed that I wasn't following him, so I went to follow him, and then I noticed I was blocked. So that's how I found out. But, it doesn't really matter. I'm not losing sleep over it, but...
How about glory hole on a pole match?
No.
That would... glory hole in a pole. Oh, boy. You should just open another account just to send that message to him.
Well, I was thinking about, because there's a lot of people that have blocked me. So I was thinking
You're a real asshole. I'm about to block you from this podcast.
Creating a new account so I could follow the people that have blocked me, but there's no point in doing that.
Oh, man. I think there's only one person that's blocked me, and it's because he's a Twitter. He has no life outside of Twitter. He's a what the fuck is his name?
Is it Wasim Pervez?
No. He's a guy. He's normally on Around the Horn, black dude. He talks really fast. I like him, but he just tweets too often, and I guess he has that app to find out the people who unfriend him, who unfollows him.
Unfollowers.com?
Yeah, I unfollowed him.
Everybody has that app if they go to that website.
I don't care if you unfollow me, honestly. I don't.
The only reason I care is if I'm following you and you unfollow me, then it's an automatic unfollow. Because that way it bogs down on my timeline clutter.
Yeah, but he blocked me just because I unfollowed. I was just like, what? I didn't know until I think he was on the Dan Patrick show, and I just happened to just go what? I wonder what he's talking about on Twitter about this, and I found out I was blocked. I was like, you ain't you?
Well, and the nice thing about the app that I use on my phone is that on Twitter, if you go to the actual Twitter app, it'll say, and you go to someone who's blocked you, you can't read their tweets because you're blocked. On the app that I use, you can still read their tweets if you want to. You just can't follow them.
Yeah, dude, it's not that important to me.
Yeah,
block me, please. I don't give a shit, and I don't care.
I'll block you as soon as this is over.
Go for it, bro. No, it's just you people who want to know who unfollows or unfriends or all that stuff, calm down. Social media is really out of hand, with this kind of stuff. It's I got bigger fish to fry than to worry about who's unfollowing me. Sorry, I don't need to know those things. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Anything else comes up? Anything NXT related? Not
off the top of my head, no.
And do yourself a favor and watch Power Struggle. It really is the last 4 matches are fucking awesome. And especially, what's the guy's name that does that? He just does that stiff headbutt. It was him against Ishii. Ishii versus Hanma. Yeah. You got to see that match, man.
Have you ever heard Hanma talk? Yeah, his vocal cords are crushed. That's why he talks like that.
He's like Tom Waits, man. What the fuck?
That doesn't sound like talking. That sounds like something else that I can't even talk about on the air.
Go ahead. You can talk about it on the air.
No, I'm not going to.
No, go ahead, bro. You brought it up.
No.
It sounds like a fucked up muffler is what it sounds like. I never heard him talk until watching Power Struggle. I remember I've seen him. What was the one? There was 2 other ones. Because he's great. Everything about him is great. And I think this is the first time I got to hear him speak because he had a little, piece on him and him going after that never belt. But yeah, man, that guy rules, man. But you have to watch that match. It's probably the most suspense-driven And it's probably the most entertaining of all the matches that happen on that pay-per-view. And like, not saying that like, Nakamura versus it was Nakamura. Who did he face? It was Nakamura versus the guy. Oh yeah, Anderson. He faced Anderson. It's not like that wasn't that entertaining. I'm not a fan of Anderson, so or even the tag match. By the way, never tag up with Okada. Okay, never tag with Okada. You're gonna lose and you're gonna get pinned. Have you ever watched an Okada match and a tag team match and he won?
No.
Yeah. I think that's the craziest thing. Oh well. But watch that. Do yourself a favor. Because I want to get your take on a lot, like anything on...
I will if I have time.
Okay.
But, like, honestly, like, my priority is AAA right now.
Okay. Well, we're talking more about AAA next week. Is there anything that's just newsworthy that's worth bringing up?
No, with the exception of this tournament's going on, but that's about it.
So basically, WWE, and in terms of them looking for their next heavyweight champion, is sort of, they're both doing the same thing. It's tournament time.
TNA is also doing the same thing.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. WWE, TNA, and AAA are all having tournaments simultaneously for their world titles.
Is there any match I need to check out for, like, I guess that's already happened, a match I need to watch for the AAA?
I'd have to look.
Oh, you haven't watched any of the matches?
No, I have. It's just I'd have to look to see which ones are good and which ones are not, because I usually, like, I have a system and a way to keep track of which matches are good and which ones are not. So I'd have to go look at that and just get back to you later.
Okay. And just what Lucha Underground started taping, I think, a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Excited about that. Definitely excited about that.
I know some inside scoops of a few people that are showing up, but I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, well, that's what your Eyes on the Ring columns are for. And speaking of which, go ahead and plug.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, you can follow me. Oh, shit. You can follow me on Twitter at Headliner5. You can follow Eyes in the Ring at Eyes in the Ring. Go to eyesinthering.com. Check out all the articles there. The article or the review of the show that I attended on Saturday is up as of now, so you can go check that out. 5 pages of, or I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 pages, but it's one of those. It's a review of Survival of the Fittest Night 2 in Hopkins, Minnesota. So check that out. Also, follow Eyes on the Ring on Twitter. I think I already said that. Go to facebook.com/Eyes on the Ring and make sure to like us. And then go to darts.com or spreadshirt.com/darts and pick yourself up a Eyes on the Ring t-shirt.
Word. Okay, so yeah, if you're listening on either iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, or Podbean, make sure you add us to your favorites list. You can follow me on Twitter at PJTW Central. Again, that's PJTW Central. I have another account under Ellen Japanese, LINJAPANESE. You can follow either or. I'm basically posting the same shit. But yeah, man, subscribe. Add us to the playlist, even if you have a Tumblr page. But the content is this very podcast you listen to now, the Neu Daye Podcast. Again, this is episode 17. You got Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, and then you have Peter Talks SmackDown. I need to do a Peter Talks Wrestling with sometime soon with Keita. If she's listening, shoot me a tweet or a text when you're available to possibly talk a good hour about what's going on in the wrestling world with you and your podcast, and get some plugs out there for that.
Yeah, also check out the Keita and Jay show.
Yes, yeah. The Keita and Jay show. She is all over the place, man.
Yeah, I know.
They're doing ROH. They're doing fucking movie reviews. God damn.
Yep.
Like, Akita, you don't gotta review everything, okay? You gotta review.
Well, it might not be her idea. It might be Jay's idea.
Okay. All right. Either or. You ain't gotta review everything, all right? Some things you don't have to review. It's like, oh my God, there's a caterpillar. Let's go review this caterpillar.
People can do whatever they want, man.
I know. It's called.
Stop stepping on toes.
This is called a rib, okay? It's called a rib. She shoots on me. God damn it, I can shoot on her. All right, and do us all a favor. Thumbs up, like, comment below, send us a tweet, and most importantly, share. Share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Because both Eyes on the Ring, PJTW, we need all the support and all the love we can possibly get. And that's how we end this motherfucker. You got any last words?
Nope. Just follow Eyes on the Ring tonight. I will be live tweeting Raw like a maniac per the usual.
Where are they at tonight?
I have no idea.
I think they're in Clemson tonight.
Okay.
They're in South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, somewhere. I think Clemson or some fucking where in South Carolina. I thought about going. I was like, man, I got to do the podcast though. It'd be great to just sort of like wing it and just ride the fuck down to Charleston, South Carolina. That's where it is.
Well, you could have said we're not doing one and just went.
No, but I don't know anybody. Like, I guess Jake, he works on Mondays, so
Peter has no friends.
No, not really. I like it that way. I like it that fucking way. But yeah, so I'm going to watch live tonight for the first time in 2 weeks. And do yourself a favor, folks, except Keita, and to watch out for those foreign objects. Peace.